We are a loving spiritual community. Join me, please. Empowering all to live healthy and successful lives through practicing the principles of science of mind. The announcements are well laid out in our beautiful program, and I'll go through some of them. Susie Rogers facilitated our virtual book club on Monday night, and we do have a good time discussing books. So please keep an open mind and join us. We're reading some really interesting books, and some of them are not in the kind of books we usually read, so we are expanding our literary horizons. The Unexpected Income Club is doing well. The nominations are still open for the Board of Trustees. There are books on sale still for $1, and there are some really good ones over there. So they're there until supplies last, and new used books are added weekly. So take a peek over there. We have a wonderful plan to have in July summertime fun, lunch and paint with Karen Thomas. This is one of a very well attended experience that we share. And last year we did mostly Van Gogh. I'm going to be curious to see who we're doing this year. In July also, Terry Wilder is coming back to do the Sacred Gong meditation. And that is really quite an experience. There's a sizzling summer opportunity drawing 2021. I guess, do we save things for that and bring them in?
Bring them in.
Yeah, and we bring them in. New and slightly used gifts, etc., that you want to share with someone else are put together in these beautiful baskets, and then we have a drawing. And it includes Trader Joe's gift card, 10 pounds of fresh caught Alaskan salmon, Clippers tickets, In-N-Out gift card, and beautiful gift baskets. So it's a very fun event. Now, we're going to begin our invocation. And this is going to be a shared invocation. This is a beautiful poem, and it has a line that I know that will touch your hearts. And when I say repeat, repeat that line with me. We'll be doing it 3 times. It's organized, this poem is organized in an A-B style. It begins with the chorus. Breathing in, God calms my body. Breathing out, it's a good time to be alive. Together, breathing out, it's a good time to be alive. Oh God, we take time to pause on this day, to gather our thoughts, to let our souls catch up with our bodies. Breathing in, the Christ teachings show us the path. Breathing out, it's a good time to be alive. Together, breathing out, it's a good time to be alive. O Spirit, creative energy of love and compassion, life embracing, life transforming, heal our bodies, heal our souls, heal our relationships, heal our nation. Breathing in, God heals. Breathing out, it's a good time to be alive. Repeat with me. Breathing out, it's a good time to be alive. Thank you. And now in gratitude, let us give thanks today to all gathered here in our beautiful sanctuary, all who are watching from home, and to all who have shared of their time, their treasure, and their blessed talents to make this service a blessing of love and loving. I know that Reverend Dr. Bill Salisbury's talk today will uplift us and bring us into the experience of love and loving with even greater depth. now in prayer. Life is now. Life is ever. Life abounds, ceasing never. Love is now. Love lives in our hearts. It never stops. It never starts. It always was, will always be. The divine flow in all. We see the value of life is life itself. The love in your heart is your true wealth.
God love me when this old world starts to push and shove me. I need to be still and let God love me.
Our sacred reading for today is titled, Let Your Heart Listen, written by Martha Smock in Daily Word, December 1958. It is spoken in the voice of Father, Mother, God. You are my beloved child. Out of my own self have I created you. My life is your life. My breath is your breath. My spirit is your spirit. There is nothing to fear, for I am with you, mighty in the midst of you. I am the life that heals you. I am the life that lifts your heart and sets you free. I am the vision of your mind. I am the light of your path. I am the peace of your soul. I am with you, dear child, through your every hour of the day and night, standing with you, upholding you, supporting you, revealing myself to you and through you. I am the love that will not let you go. I seek you out when you do not know how to reach me. I speak in your heart to comfort you. I am the life of your body, and my life is perfect and eternal. Trust me. I am your health. I am with you in all the experiences of your life. I am the power in you to understand. I am the power in you to forgive. I am the power in you to become. Beloved, I am with you. Live in me. Rejoice in me. You are my beloved child. And now for a closing prayer by Daphne Rose Kingma. Love, we thank you for love. Love that stirs and soothes us. Love that gathers us into all joy and delivers us from brokenness. Love that hears the soundless language. Love that imagines and dreams. that can conquer all and willingly surrenders everything. Love that brought us into our lives, and love that will carry us home. Namaste.
I send my love over the mountain. Send my love over the sea. Send my love into the heaven. It returns to me. Send my joy over the mountain. Send my joy over the sea. Send my joy into the heavens. It returns to me. I send my peace over the mountain. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens. And it returns to me. Love returns to me.
Tommy Cosentino, ladies and gentlemen, our very own. Good morning.
Good morning.
Alan Cohen sat here, and he loves First Church of Religious Science. I have an Alan Cohen story, as it turns out. Imagine that. But he had said at some point that he was talking about favorite cartoons. And he said there's this cartoon of a tomato plant. And one of the tomato plants is, one of the tomatoes is really big and juicy and ripe. And the stalk is saying to the tomato, we're going to have to let you go. And the title of the cartoon is Layoffs at the Plant. But what was so great about this, and he went on to explain, is that's the metaphor for life, right? When we are in any situation, circumstance, when we are somewhere that we have fulfilled the ripeness of what we are doing, they got to let us go. So it means sometimes we move on to new jobs, we move on to new locations, we move on to new partners, but that's just it. When you have reached the full potential of what you're going to do, otherwise you're going to hang on that stalk and rot. But if you fall off, then you go into the ground, assuming nobody comes by and picks you up and eats you. But otherwise, then you go into the ground, you return to the earth, and then you sprout new life once again. Funny, I'm talking about new life here on Memorial Day. And this is Memorial Day. This is the Memorial Day. This is the 30th. That's when Memorial Day has always been scheduled to be, till somewhere in the 70s. So if you're 50 years old or older, this happened within your lifetime in the 70s, they changed it so that it would be a Monday. Because federal employees wanted a 3-day weekend. That's why we celebrate it on the Monday. But used to be it was on the 30th, whatever day of the week that came to be. And because it's Memorial Day, surprisingly, I brought something for the occasion. In Flanders Fields by John McCrae, May 1915. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Memorial Day, which used to be called Decoration Day, was brought to be following the Civil War, when people got together and commemorated those huge losses that we had. And then it morphed into this thing we call Memorial Day. This poem was written after right at the beginning of the First World War, when John McCrae's very good friend was killed in action. And he wrote this right at the beginning of the war, in that time when the romanticism of war was still in the air, before the bitterness and the disillusion that war really brings had come to bear. And if you think about that, that's been the case in every major war we've ever had. For some reason, we want to romanticize this thing. We make movies about it. And what do we get in the movies? All these brave, dashing, daring souls in spotless uniforms climbing up the hill and taking it for the greater glory and the greater good of whatever country. Well, usually it's our country because we make the movies. And then there's this huge crescendoing, beautiful, dramatic music. But there's none of that. There's none of that. War is ugly, it's dirty, it's devastating. There's no sweet music in the background. There's just the sounds of bombs, artillery, small arms fire, machine guns, and the agonies and the screaming and the pain and the hurt from people that have just been blown apart. So I think we do ourselves a little bit of a disservice when we try to color it for something other than what it is. I do think, though, that it's really great to honor those who have died in war. What do we call them? Fallen soldiers. They're not fallen soldiers. They're our dead young people. The people that went off to fight under the auspices of something and ended up dead. So to commemorate them, that's great because they were doing what they thought they were supposed to do. And then to honor the families of those that were left behind, the family, the friends, the loved ones. So it's a nice thing to get together and remember every year. And just before the raucous parties and the loud music and the flowing liquor, it's nice to just take a moment and center ourselves and think, wow, this is in memoriam. This is in memoriam. This is what we talk about on Memorial Day. So if you have lost somebody in the service, military service, my heart goes out to you. And to all the families and friends, all the other survivors of them. And just take a minute this day and just go within your heart and say, thank you, God, for releasing them from the travails and the troubles and the trials of this part of this life. And for bringing them back into that undifferentiated experience that they are now back being a part of. Thank you. So the title of today's talk is Love is a Gateway Drug. You know, I heard a little bit, I got a little bit of flack, no, feedback about drugs. But I want to ask you something. Who's ever had a glass of wine with dinner? Who's ever had a cocktail? Who's ever had a beer? Who's ever had a cup of tea? Cup of coffee? Who's ever eaten chocolate? Because all of these things they fall under the definition of drug. So, yeah, we have gotten used to using drugs, the word drugs, in the negative sense, in the pejorative sense, but it's not the case. That's like sometimes talking about chemicals. So chemicals. What's the biggest chemical in the world? Water, H2O, it's a chemical. We have to distinguish between the good and the bad things. So when we talk about a gateway drug, it just means something that all of us can use at any time without having to feel bad about it, because it's not a bad drug, it's a good drug. Remember Huey Lewis, want a new drug. How did that go? I want a new drug, one that won't make me sick, one that won't make my face break out or make me feel 3 feet thick. And then on to one that makes me feel like I feel when I'm with you. That's a good feeling. You got anybody in your life that you feel different about and great around when you're together? That's like a drug. You know, at Stanford University, some years ago, they did this study. And it was, they designed this study. The people they used for this study were people involved in passionate relationships, in the beginnings of their relationships, in the first 9 months. So if you've been together over 9 months, you're on, you don't qualify. Thank you for playing, you know. Vanna, what's our parting gift for them? But it was the strangest thing. They showed the people photos of them and their loved one, and while they were looking at them and reminiscing, they were giving various degrees of heat prodding, for lack of a better word. They were prodding their palms with heat. And they had them hooked up. You know, they do great things with machines these days. It's not like we can read our minds with them, but we can see what our brain is doing, and they can figure out different areas of the brain that are involved. And it turns out that when they were doing this, and then they put it into the algorithm, but it turns out that when these people were thinking about the new love of their life, they were 12% less resistant to major pain, well, medium pain, and they were 45% less resistant to low pain, measured by the volts that they were giving them. So think about that. I want a new drug. But it's about gateway drug. Life is a gateway drug. So I think that when we talk about gateway drug, well, I think we're all pretty much of like mind on that, right? A gateway drug is something that you might use that might not even be addictive itself, but it will lead to the use of things that are addictive. Think tea, coffee, wine, cocktails, chocolate. I'm not going to say that if you go back there and eat one of Sally's brownies, next thing you know, we're going to have you on meth and do a Coke before breakfast. But love is a gateway drug. Because once you have got yourself to where you can feel and appreciate and get that warm glow. Isn't that a warm glow we get when we're in the presence of love? I mean, sometimes we get that and there's nobody else even around. But we find that it's our mind filling us up with those things that the busyness of the day has gone away, and we're just sitting there now, we're just open to those wonderful experiences and memories. But love is a gateway drug because once you have accepted that and understood it and recognized it for what it is and allowed it into your life, you then start using things like gratitude, acceptance, forgiveness, grace, joy. It leads to light and beauty, appreciation. And really, truly, all of those things can be addictive. I hope so. Because think about the times when you felt any one of those things that just swelled you up to thinking, man, I just can't, if it gets any better, I'm just going to burst. And yet, we can enjoy those things all we want. And one of them kind of leads to another. Love isn't the only gateway. I just imagine in my mind, like the layout of a town. And before the buildup of South Orange County, it used to be pretty much the case that a town, the streets went north and west, or north and south and east and west, and it was a grid, and there was like a main thoroughfare going through. And I just want to suggest that if we use that same analogy, and the main thoroughfare was love, and all these other God qualities intersected with that, which they do, even if we were driving on a dirt road at the outside of town and came across any one of those, we could turn onto it. And it would all lead back. We followed it to the main artery, which is love. Isn't that kind of how it works? So we can introduce ourselves to any of these other qualities, and these qualities themselves, these are God's healing agents, wouldn't you think? The little kid, little Alex, comes running in because he scraped his knee. What does mom do? She cleans it up a little bit, and then she kisses that little knee and says, there, it's all better. And guess what? It is. Little Alex stops crying. Speaking of little Alex, can we go back to Memorial Day for a minute? Because I'm thinking of little Alex and how he was standing in the foyer of this big giant mega church. And he's looking up at this plaque they brought in, this great big old wall thing on one of those tripods, you know, and it had these little brass plates with names on it and little American flags, little poppies, hence the Flanders Field thing. And he's just standing there looking at it and looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. And the minister, it's between services, walks up to him. He says, hi, Alex. How you doing? And Alex says, fine. He says, what's this? He says, well, that's a memorial. These are the names of all the people who died in the service. Just stood there for a second. He's a little shaky voice. He says, is that the 9 o'clock service or the 11 o'clock service? Oh, let's get back to the gateway. Back to the gateway drug thing. So at any rate, these are all healing agents of God. And by the way, everything that we get, that we make, that we eat, that we drink, that we ingest, that we do anything with, where does it come from? It's here. Now, we have to sometimes put these things together and, mix this thing with that thing in certain amounts to get where we're going. But these things are all here already. These are God provided. And because we have free will, we have choice, we have volition, we can choose to take these God provided things and we can use them for our benefit or not. Right? So if we're putting the pejorative spin on something, it's not on that thing itself, or not on the fact that it was provided to us by God, but it's on the fact that we haven't accepted our responsibility in mixing and matching the things and using them in the proper method that they were given to us for. And when we do that, we run into all kinds of problems. And our way out of them is by remixing and matching and making those healing agents God has provided for us do the work that they were meant to do. So, God, in the history of this country, or the world, we've had so many different problem things happen, right? And it's not just recently. I mean, back in the Bible, in both Romans and Matthew's, they talk about serious issues, wars, illnesses, massive bugs, I don't know what you call them. But I mean, there has always in the history of man been things that happen that if we were writing the story, we wouldn't have written in because we wouldn't want to live through them. And yet what it tells us is that these are just the very beginning stirrings of new birth. The reason that we have these is so that we can learn from them and we can grow into that bigger and better world and those bigger and better people that we were meant to do. And we do that by making sure that we have these drugs, let's call them remedies, that we have these remedies available. If I said the word Rexall, would anybody know what that meant?
Drugstore.
Yeah.
It was a what?
The drugstore.
A drugstore. Ah, that's right. Before drug became a four-letter word. So let's go to remedy. Because I just happen to know that the remedy for anything, once we feel those beginning birth pangs, showing that something new is coming forth from something that is already old and has outlived its purpose. Remember Alan Cohen and his tomato, we gotta let you go. And when that tomato seed falls to the earth and becomes something other, well, the seed doesn't become other, but the tomato becomes other, doesn't it? It withers and goes away, which is the way of life. It withers and goes away so that new birth can come forward. And when this comes forward, we have the opportunity to bring it forward in the finest possible fashion. Our souls, those never-ending, eternal, infinite things, the beingness of what we are, our souls never backpedal. We are always becoming more and not less of who we are and what we're meant to be. And when we keep that in mind, we can address problems on the planet, in our lives, in the world, with the knowledge that we have everything we need. We have all the remedies we could possibly need for solving all of our problems. If we just keep our eye steadied on the fact that we are divine children of God, and we are meant to use all the resources provided by God to make our lives and our love grow and flourish like it should. So I just like to mention that when we're in this growth period, when we're in the birth pangs, we feel them, and we start directing our hearts and our souls toward the growth that we should do, we do it by doing. That was another thing Alan Cohen said. He said, you know what? You're reading all these great books, listening to all these great sermons, and watching all these secret movies, fixing ourselves all the time. And he said, hey, why don't you stop fixing yourself and start being yourself and doing yourself? Because that's what God put us here for. So I guess really what he was saying is, let's stop talking about it. Let's get it done. Let's stop talking around this love drug and just use it all the time. Share it with everybody we know. So here's what I know. I know that in this life, in this wonderful display that God has provided for us and allowed us to run rampant with it any way we see fit, with that choice and that volition that is given to us, that we have the opportunity to spread love, to spread all of the roads that lead to love, the beauty, the joy, the happiness, the tenderness, the forgiveness, the graciousness. And I know that when we choose those God qualities, as opposed to choosing something other than them, and we let go of all things that are not those qualities of God, what a wonderful life. What a wonderful world. And I just say, thank you, God, for this. Thank you, thank you. And together we say, so it is. Opportunity to share our abundance. We know that all of our good comes from one source, God. And for this we are grateful. For those of you who are watching at home and for whatever reason are not here with us today, thank you also for your continuing support. It's with your support that we keep this center vital and active and going to do the good work that it does in the world. We bless these gifts, these tithes, these offerings, knowing that they are given from the central core of who we are, which is God made manifest on this plane. Send them forward to do their good work in the world. So it is.
Say the word and you'll be free. Say the word and be like me. Say the word I'm thinking of. Have you heard the word is love? It's so fine, it's sunshine. It's the word love. In the beginning I misunderstood, but now I got must be right. I'm here to show everybody the light. Give the word a chance to say that the word is just a way. It's the word I'm thinking of, and the only word is love. It's so bright, it's sunshine, it's the word love. Say the word love, say the word love, say the word love, say the word love, say the word love.
Thank you. Yeah, let's know this. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It's happening in my mind,
It's happening in my mind.
happening in my body,
It's happening in my body.
happening in my heart.
It's happening in my heart.
It is this thing called love.
It is this thing called love.
My gateway
My gateway
to all the wonders, God qualities
to all the wondrous God qualities
I could ever hope to feel.
I could ever hope to feel.
I know this,
I know this.
I believe this,
I believe this.
because it is lodged in my heart.
It's lodged in my heart.
Thank you, God, in me.
Thank you, God, in